Welcome to Dreamland. Yo, it's your boy Sosa. My mama once told me a story that her mother died at 15. She went on to go to high school.
DIRadiocast.com, Wally Airhole. We are live at the CES. It is the first day of the official conference for everyone. That's the dealers, the buyers, the exhibitors, etc. Now, we're going to go and cover some of the power sessions today. So you guys stay tuned to DIRadiocast.com. Once again, this is Africa Unlocked with the network. The network is out there.
Follow your dreams to know where you headed. When you make a wish, don't ever forget it. Don't ever sell your soul for something you won't die for. More money, more problems. Well, I want more. I want to see the world, make a better living. Maybe heal the world, make it better for our children. I can see the future better with my eyes closed. I want to be heard, that's the only reason I wrote. Expressions on paper, just to make paper. The world is my playing field, I don't see the hater. Address me as Sosa, the son of Keith Major. So I don't need a deal for me to ever sound major. I used to be a player, till karma interfered. Dreams come true, you just gotta be prepared. It's not about the gear.
One of the things we're also doing is we're recognizing that connectivity is not just about the vehicle, it is also about your home. And you're seeing more products at CES this year about smarter, intelligent home energy management, smart grid integration, better home security systems. And we've done quite a bit of work with the Chevy Volt electric vehicle and being able to provide smartphone access, website access, email access, and control to your vehicle, as well as being able to better integrate into the smart grid. But the thing where it comes to sort of the human aspect of vehicles and the connectivity is, and particularly for the aging population, is how do I take care of my family? And again, your family means my children, myself, and spouse, and my parents. And we are piloting an application right now called Family Link, which basically provides an opportunity to locate your loved ones and being able to establish for teenage drivers up at a 16-year-old curfew management. And so when we think about how should these tools work, it's not so much how do we make the technology or how do we adapt our lives to the technology, is how should we adapt the technology for our lives.
And you just mentioned real briefly the issue of when you stop driving, and one of the things that we care about in the center are people who cannot drive. And one of the things that comes up quite a bit is this important need to get information about where you are and what's going on with the transit system. Now, if you're fortunate enough to live in a city like Seattle, San Francisco, Chicago, you can get real-time information about where your buses are. This information is critical to the perception of safety, the feeling of I'm going to be standing outside of this bus for half an hour waiting for a bus as opposed to 5 minutes for a bus. But what it doesn't really help is cities where the system is expensive. And these systems cost tens of millions of dollars to install. So we were tackling this question of can you do this cheaper, but we also wanted to tackle it in a way that was specifically valuable to people who are disabled or who are older. And we wanted to do it in a way that was used universal design. How many of you know what universal design is? It's a much better response than normal, so that's good. So the idea is that it's effective and valuable for people who have disabilities or are older, but also has value to everybody else who are using the entire market sector as opposed to just a small niche product we're now selling to everybody. And we wanted to see if we could do this, and we wanted to see if it would have universal impact on everybody else. So we implemented a system on Android and iPhone. It's out in the market. There's a demo down below if you're interested in it. And we do a bunch of information here. But the key detail that separates us from other approaches, there's two details. One, we crowdsource the information, so everybody shares the information with each other, since we don't have the system on the buses. And number two, we ask people how full the bus is.
She went on to go to high school, college, and become a teacher.
Nevada's a bunch of other states. I'm sure you've probably seen your own state on there that's also red. But the basic idea is, many states are saying you can't be doing this while you're driving, right? We all know you shouldn't, but It always seems that when someone calls you, they're more important, so that law doesn't apply to you because you have to pick up that phone call. I think we're all familiar with that. Texting. Now, everyone knows texting is bad, so the for texting. Again, this is from last year, waiting for the Institute of Highway Safety to put up a new chart, but until then we get the March version. But texting is bad, everyone knows that. But where does the rest of your thumbs on your phone apply? So when you talk about legislation, it's pretty simple to say you can't do this. You know, it's pretty easy for a cop to see you doing this, and you can't do that. It's also pretty easy to say, hey, if I send a text message, that's illegal, you can't be doing that. But what about giving thumbs up to a Pandora song while driving? What about looking up someone on your phone directory? What about using a turn-by-turn navigation app that was designed, or our app, our Livio app designed for in-car use, which we launched in 2009? Where does that fall? It's an industry-wide issue that Livio, my company, has been very involved with on, you know, how do you work with legislation around safe driving? How do you provide product that, you know, makes it safe? And my approach is a little bit different than what you see in Washington. I feel that if you have a product that works really well, then this legislation isn't even necessary. So that's what we've done with Livio Connect. To explain the problem a little in different terms, I think of like a giant ball of wires. You know, each one's a different shape, different size, different color. And when you talk about getting apps to safely be put into cars, which can safely be used by a driver, the issue is that every car company has a different specification, and every app company has a different specification on a different operating system. So when you have 3 or 4 operating systems times 50 apps times 12 major car companies or 15 major car companies times the 6 radios in each car, every year that's being built 3 years out, you can multiply that out, and it's a pretty big number.
Never let them keep me down. They don't see what I see. You see how
Or smaller in a safe fashion. The trick of this is that when you're working with an OEM, the OEM has to do type certification. They have to make sure that their human machine interface HMI is safe to use. So the vehicle companies that we work with design the HMI, and then we allow those buttons to be set by an application. So for example, my app uses each button for radio presets, whereas our partner apps may use a tag button, scan button, thumbs up button, and adjust the image based on what that particular function is. So you do not get to control the stencil. You have to play within the stencil of the HMI, which is certified safe and usable from an automobile manufacturer. But the app company is able to work within those confines to make their app custom into a vehicle environment.
I'm not familiar with. It's got like all this dashboard of stuff, you know, that, you know, the first question is, well, how do I turn it on? You know, how do I turn the lights on? How do I turn the windshield wiper on? The basics. When we start going to some of these other more sophisticated types of things, especially getting into the healthcare side, you know, with the monitoring and all these sorts of things, how are we going to educate people on how to use this new technology? Livio, you mentioned about using...
Just finished a year-and-a-half effort studying all of the interactions that people have with medical devices, especially with pump. And one of their recommendations is that FDA get involved in formulating regulations and oversight about training materials, educational materials.
It's not necessarily a good thing.
It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's good that somebody would actually be paying attention.
From a vehicle standpoint, when I get in a rental car, I use my aftermarket car kit because it's the one common denominator. You got your 12-volt adapter, and then you have your FM radio. Okay. In your own vehicle, the concept of Livio Connect is that if you switch between my wife drives an Acura, I drive a Nissan, you go between those two vehicles, you know, there's going to be different systems. So like I mentioned before, the problem of the different OEMs having different systems, not one common to use, that's an issue that I feel a rising tide will float all boats in this industry. I do agree with you, and I'll respectfully disagree. I think legislation on this is a challenge because there's no way to prove, from a safety standpoint, there's no way to prove that someone is driving a car and not sitting in a car or riding on a school bus. So I haven't seen a system yet that will do that. So I still feel strong, and I make the point again, that it has to be the benefits of using a safe technology are better than the benefits of using a dangerous one. Thank you.
blessings of my brothers. We can do anything we wanna. Yo, I guess you gotta follow your dreams to know where you headed.
It's BJ Douglas Sands with DS.